So it's a Saturday night, and you're in the bar with your friends. You've just crushed your third beer can up against your head, but you're longing for something more. You want to become one of the really true cool people. You want to be a comic book reader, but you don't know where to start. What stories? What books? Where do you even begin? Well, I'm here to help you with your journey. Come on, join the comic book side. Okay, so welcome back, everybody, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun with this episode. And if you know anybody that's looking to get into comic books but doesn't know where to start, maybe some of the advice here can help you to help them. You have a young kid, a child that you want to have him start getting into comics, but you don't know where to start. Maybe some ideas here, or if you have other ideas, please throw them into the comments. I'd love to hear it. And while you're throwing something in the comment, like, subscribe, notifications, I would really appreciate it. Share. This is a good one to share. So, you don't read comics, but you want to get into it, but you have no idea where to start. Hundreds of thousands of publications throughout the years. What do you read first? It's generally pretty hard to just go to your comic book store and just go to the shelf and pick up a comic book. Amazing Spider-Man number 26,422. It's in the middle of a storyline that might have started 8 issues ago. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the characters. This can be pretty confusing and a little bit frustrating if you go and buy a comic and you're picking up in the middle of a story. You wouldn't want to pick up a Tom Clancy novel and start from chapter 12. It doesn't, it's you're missing a lot of the information, and it's not as rewarding and satisfying. So, I'm going to give a few ideas of what people can do to get into reading comic books. First thing that you can look at are limited series. Limited series are generally storylines that they start and end within a certain amount of time. Okay, and I'm going to give a few examples here. I'm not telling you to buy these, if they're good or bad. I'm just showing you different examples. I mean, Black Panther had a limited series. As you can see up at the top, it says number 1 in a 4-issue limited series. And then number 2, number 3, number 4. And the story begins with number 1 and ends with number 4. Some of the other, another one that was from the 80s was Magic, which, that shows Peter, Colossus' sister, and how she became Magic from just being little Liliana. Secret Wars was a great limited series. One that we're all waiting for right now is, Vision and Scarlet Witch. This is issue number 12. These two were 12-issue limited series. Okay? And, yeah, things like Vision and Scarlet Witch and definitely Secret Wars you're not going to find in your bargain bins. Okay? But a lot of the other ones you will. Another thing you can do is find graphic novels. Okay, you find these in stores. I happen to be a Wolverine fan, as you can see by looking at some of these. Now, a lot of times what they do with these is, if you have seen any of the storylines or any of the books on eBay, you probably recognize that cover. Okay, this is Frank Miller's 4-issue limited series that was available in 1982. Great storyline. What they did was they reprinted it into a book, and you can generally pick this up for about $5 at a comic book store. Okay, if you're able to read $600, $700 worth of comics, because unless you wanted to buy some poor reader copies, and just to see if you like the characters, I would also recommend asking your comic book store. People who work there generally read the books. There are going to be a lot of graphic novels. There's going to be a lot of one-off storylines that they can show you and recommend, but tell them what kind of things interest you. Do you like science fiction? Do you like older type of heroes? Do you like the classics? Do you like Bugs Bunny? I mean, whatever you like, there's a book for it. Do you like horror? Do you like macabre? There's so many different books. Comic book stores, comic book collectors, we will ask us. Stop us in the middle of the store. We love talking about this stuff. We live for it. And we're, 99.9% of people that read comics are going to be excited for you that you're taking those first steps that we took a long time ago, and we're going to try to help you in the best way that we can. You're going to see a lot of Wolverine here. I'm sorry, I'm a Wolverine fan. Another series that you generally find in dollar boxes and stuff like that is the What If series. Now, what they did was they took major moments in Marvel history, those turning points that shaped the Marvel Universe, and said, well, what if this happened? And Disney Plus will be coming out with, I believe it's going to be an animated What If series. So I believe one of the first ones they're going to be doing is what if Peggy Carter had gotten the super soldier serum. Now you got a female Captain America, or actually she was British. I don't even know how that's going to work. But it will give you the storyline in a different arc, and you'll be able to get just a feel of how a comic plays out and reads. You'll be able to see sometimes just one-off storylines, comic books that come off. This is one book, begins and ends. Actually, it's a really, really good story. And it's an older one as well. I have a lot of books from the 80s. Second printings, third printings. A lot of times they become collector issues, but a lot of times they were originally intended for people to buy after the first printing sold out. Second prints and third prints were not meant originally to become the hot collectibles that they have become. I have Thor #1 in first print, but this is a second print. Now, I'll reach and I'll grab the first print. Okay, so you see the bottom of the book, red, blue. The blue is the second print. The red is the first print. The red, at this time, the first print was the one that was more expensive. The second print they made after the first print sold out, and it was basically printed so other people could just get their hands on it and just read it. It's not as high a price. The whole thing is just try to look through your general boxes. If you're trying to get into comics for the first time, and as a reader, for it to entertain you, don't look at the real expensive books that are on the wall behind the counter, because now you're buying a book that might cost you $200-300. It's either going to be in a slab where you can't read it, or it's going to be in a nice condition and you don't want to read it because you might damage it in reading it. There are other types of books that you could. I got this one slab just because I love it. Ice Cream Man is a horror macabre type of series, and every issue that you see in Ice Cream Man begins and ends the story. Okay, so you don't have to worry about, I don't want to start reading at number 20 because I didn't read number 19. One has got nothing to do with the other. You're going to read 20 on its own. And when you pick up number 21 and read it, if you like it, it's a completely separate story. You don't have to worry about it. There are other types of reprints. I stick within the Marvel Universe myself. You've got the Marvel True Believer series. DC uses like the dollar comics. They're a great way for you to read some of the real classic issues, and they only cost, like I said, $1 a piece. You can get a whole bunch of those real easy. Omnibus is another way, but this way is going to be a bit more pricey. What they'll generally do is put, say, 10, 20, whatever comic books from history into one thick book. So if you were reading, say, look, I really want to read this Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 50, the very first Spider-Man, AF-15, Spider-Man number 1 through number 50, but I can't afford those books, and they didn't reprint all those books. Well, they did. They put them into what's called an omnibus, but a good-sized omnibus might run you up to $100. That's a lot of money to dish out just so you can see if you can read the story. Now, there is one other option that you can do is digitally. A lot of these comics you can go to online, and basically, like, the Kindle where you read the books, they have the comics online as well. There are certain video channels on YouTube where they take the time to go through an entire storyline. There's one that I saw that I watched a pretty good part of it, because I remember reading the storyline myself, which was the original Secret Wars. There is a video on YouTube, I believe it's an hour and 51 minutes long, where they go page by page, panel by panel, and read the whole story and the implications and the behind the scenes. It's very in-depth. Now, again, watching it, I knew everything in there, because I not only bought these when they first hit the shelves that many, many years ago, but I read them 500 times each. But again, the biggest thing, though, is to go for things that, if you're just getting new to the hobby, go for things that you are interested in. That don't buy Shazam comics if you're into horror. Okay, don't buy horror comics if you're more interested in things like Spider-Man. I mean, you can, it's your money, you do as you choose, but you want the hobby to become something that is entertaining to you, which will make you want to come back and buy more copies. If you buy comics that you look at it and say, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this, you're probably not. If you're a Star Wars, or if you're a Star Wars fan, there are a lot of Star Wars comics, books, graphic novels, a lot of things for you to get more into the Star Wars universe outside of the Skywalker saga and enjoy. And it's not just if you don't have the time to sit down and read a book. No, I never really had the time to sit down and read a regular book either, but I probably read about 3,000 comics in my life, because it takes a lot less time. If the artistry is done well, it still leaves a lot to your imagination. They do, the whole bottom line is you want to find something that looks like it's going to be interesting to you, that people that you know or you've given a description of your personality have recommended to you. Okay, definitely ask the people that work in the store. They've probably read every single book that's in there. It's all they got to do all day is comics, or talk to other people that have read them. So if you found this information helpful, which I hope you have, please click like, subscribe, notifications, and share. Definitely you want to share this one if you know somebody that is thinking about getting into comics, or you're trying to steer them into reading something. This is great for couples that are trying to get something in common. Hit a comic book convention. Do whatever you want. That's the bottom line. This is a hobby for fun, for enjoyment, and don't take it. Well, you can take it as seriously as you like. If anybody watched my last video with The Mandalorian, they saw how crazy serious. That's why my voice is a little hoarse right now. But again, like and subscribe, and please send me your comments on this. I'd love to see what other advice you could give to other people that are getting into the hobby. And in the meantime, though, everybody have a wonderful day.